feel like people are going to be upset that I'm here.
Really?
Because there is such a lovely rhythm now with you and Adam doing musical Saturday intros.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, isn't it? It can't be helped. Adam's busy today, so
Shocking behaviour.
it's me and Tom.
I've been doing an invisible harmonica.
I want to know what weird twisted reality you live in. That's what it sounds like a David Lynch film.
This sounds like news. An NXT superstar has reportedly walked out over a dispute. Goldberg's opponent for Super Showdown has been revealed, and a WWE champion has had their name changed. We'll get to that in a little bit. So we start with the news that broke late last night regarding Tainara Conti from NXT. She's been conspicuous by her absence from TV for a little while, and it looks as if she ain't coming back, Sam.
Yeah, it's weird because when I handed off NXT to you and I started doing SmackDown, Tainara was getting not like a push, but like a gentle. She was getting more exposure on TV. She was like having smaller wins, and she was sort of accruing a bit of momentum, and now it just seems to have come to a screeching halt. We
don't quite know what the dispute is regarding, but this stems all the way back from mid-January, where there was talk that Conti was unhappy backstage to the point where she didn't compete in the Women's Battle Royal on NXT TV at the start of January, and since then, nothing from her on TV at all. And now we're hearing from multiple sources, from the Wrestling Observer and Fightful Select, that she's gone completely. And this is a real shame.
Yeah, massive shame. She was a crossover star. Obviously, she had a background in martial arts.
Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu.
Yeah.
She was a very different style of performer, really stood out from the pack, and had that natural charisma about her as well. I genuinely thought that she would be somebody on the bubble underneath in what is becoming possibly the best women's division in wrestling. Don't even at me. And it's a shame to see that she is now gone. She's been with the company since 2016.
Yeah.
So we're looking like 4 years worth of time spent at both Mae Young Classics she competed in, eliminated by Lacey Evans both times.
Yep.
Which is a peculiar one. Maybe she just got bored of waiting.
I don't know, maybe it's one of those things, but it sort of, as wrestling goes, you never say never. You know, this sort of thing sometimes happens quite a lot, like depending on the year. And it could just be one phone call that could make everything right. We don't know for sure. We don't know the ins and outs. I'm pretty sure more information will come to light in the coming days. But for now, it appears Tainara is gone.
We send her best wishes, and we'll probably hopefully see her popping up again very, very soon. Yeah. But we know more, you will know more. So last night on Friday Night SmackDown on Fox, the table was very much set for Super Showdown, and if you were disappointed with Goldberg doing a via satellite,
No, hold on. Like, Big Billy Willie is promised, right? He's coming back to SmackDown. They made this huge deal about it. People bought tickets because Goldberg was going to be there. Goldberg was there, but in pixelated form. He was there on the Tron. He was broadcasting
Skype video
live
by the looks
from
of it.
his garage. He was sat on a weight bench next to a couple of his cars. And, you know, like, Goldberg's one of my childhood favourites, and I'm going to talk about this later in Graded, but Goldberg's one of my childhood favourites, but this, for me, was just a little bit like, I'm excited. Like, for sure, I'm excited about the match. Can't wait. But, like, yeah, why would you overpromise and underdeliver like that?
Because you said, and yeah, what you said is true, and you know you'll talk about more in Graded in the sense that they said, hey, Goldberg's on SmackDown. It wasn't a lie.
Yeah, it wasn't a lie. They never said Goldberg will be on SmackDown in person, but therein lies the carny nature of wrestling.
Very ecumenical with the truth there, WWE. But he does have an opponent, be that as it may, for Super Showdown,
yes.
And it is...
and I quote what Goldberg said, the Fiend Bray Wyatt. So I think it's the Fiend, and I'm pretty sure because the Saudis love the house show massive style, I reckon we'll have the Fiend versus Goldberg rather than Bray Wyatt versus Goldberg, but I guess time will tell. I think it makes more sense for it to be the Fiend, the way he was talking about, like, it might be a bit foolish, but you know. Yeah. And then Bray was like, let me offer you some advice, and he's like, I'm not going to take any advice from you. The only thing I'm going to take from you is your Universal Championship. So imagine Goldberg gets that belt, just completely undoes the Fiend in Saudi Arabia. That would be the perfect, a massive middle finger to the entire...
What a time. On Twitter, Bray Wyatt did kind of try and justify why The Fiend would have umbrage with Big Billy G. Bird.
Right.
And apparently it's to do with his tattoo.
Okay.
The tattoo Bray Wyatt has was apparently inspired by Goldberg's.
It was a big tribal mess.
Here you go, have this shoehorn.
Yeah.
Just to give you some explanation for why you're coming after, for why one's coming after the other. I genuinely am intrigued as to how they will. I feel like once again they've booked themselves into a corner.
They haven't booked themselves into a corner, Tom.
Have they not?
They've booked themselves into the correct position.
Into Saudi Arabia.
Spear, jackhammer, 1, 2, 3. That's right. Big Billy Willie, Universal Champion.
Oh man, I'm baffled.
Why? It's fine. Goldberg. Nobody can beat him. Imagine Goldberg as one, Brock as the other, and then we can unify them and get rid of the brand split again in about 2 years. Because that's what we do. We go brand split, not. But yeah.
I can't wait to watch you graded. Can't wait to watch you ungraded.
I'm excited.
Do we talk more about this ungraded?
Yes.
Get in. More on that ungraded. 2 more matches have been set for Super Showdown over there in there Saudi Arabia. The first one, it seems, will be Bayley defending the SmackDown Women's Championship against Carmella.
But we're not sure. Yeah.
So an email was sent out earlier on in the day, and Dave Meltzer reported on this in the Wrestling Observer, and it said that the winner of the Fatal 4-Way match on SmackDown will get a shot at Bayley for the Women's Championship at Super Showdown. Now, obviously, women's matches at Super Showdown events in Saudi Arabia have been a question mark. And last time we made some good progress. We had our first women's match there, and my only concern is that nothing else was said.
Well, it didn't. I don't believe it appeared at the end of SmackDown.
No.
They did a quick graphic rundown at the end of SmackDown, and I think all they announced was the already established stuff plus Fiend Goldberg. So I think that was all that was touched on. But, it wouldn't surprise me if this is what's happening, but maybe they're just sort of playing it a bit close to their chest. They've announced that it's probably going to happen, 90% locked on. But, as is the nature with these shows, things can change last minute due to sports authorities and all this stuff. So hopefully, because of last time, hopefully it does get the go-ahead, because I think it's important.
I think it's important as well, and we'll see what happens. I think it'd be a great thing to have a women's championship match in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, absolutely.
That'd be a great thing to happen, but we'll see what happens there. The other one is finally, the last chapter.
The Rock has come back to the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
Oh, to face Hogan. No.
Destroys his Hollywood career. Hang on, lads. Hold up the Fast and the Furious 9 million. I'm off to Saudi Arabia.
We're just going to do a wrestle.
Can you imagine the Hollywood Reporter front page on that? Jesus.
He would be done. I'm sorry, The Rock. But no, Roman Reigns and Baron Corbin are going over to Saudi Arabia to put a full stop on the sentence that is their feud in a steel cage match.
Yes, a salad steel cage. What happened was we got promised Goldberg was about to happen, and then Baron Corbin came out and he was like, I'm the king of SmackDown, therefore I say what happens and when it happens. And he was like, I know you're all waiting for Goldberg. Then he got his cheap heat because they were in California, and he was like, ragging on him for losing to his Chiefs at the Super Bowl. And then he was like, he poured beer over a fan and challenged Roman to another match. And then when Roman turned up, he ran away like a massive wuss.
Like a heel.
No, just like a wuss. He just barreled out of there, like straight away.
And this has apparently led to the blow-off for their feud that has lasted roughly as long as Fast and Furious has. And it's going to be a steel cage match in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah.
This is Roman winning, surely.
Yeah, it's got to be. Like Roman was the one that added the steel cage stip at the end. So Corbin just challenged for a match. Roman was like, yeah, you've got your rematch, but inside a steel cage. And so I think Roman has to win. But I think because Roman made a very clear point of going, so your boys can't get involved. Tell your boys to stay at home. Your boys aren't going to interfere with the match. Your boys, they're going to interfere in the match.
They're going to say, holla, we them boys.
It means we're probably going to get an Uso splash from the top of a cage. That'd be nice. But because they're going to run down and help Roman for sure, right?
Yeah, he's emphasised the boys too much. I think they're going to get on a plane on the fly and get over there. They really are.
They're not going to get back for a few days though.
Oh well, we will see. It's funny that like. I remember back in my day when the Rumble ended. Back in my day when we had just one wrestling show ever a year. Once the Royal Rumble was done, Like WrestleMania, that was
Yeah.
all eyes, all
Yeah.
all paths. They've seen so many little service stations.
Well,
stops
7
along
more
the
years
line.
of it, Tom, I think. 7 more years of the deal, or is it 8 more years of the deal? It's one of them.
Pretty
but-
sure it's 7 more years.
Yeah, 7 more years of the deal, so get used to it, mate. Saudi Arabia, 4 times a year or something.
But we'll be doing charity streams for 7 more years.
We will.
7
we
more
will.
years of charity streams. More on that to come. And finally, one champion in the WWE has had their name changed again. Oh, Vince loves changing names. We assume it's Vince.
Yeah,
Just
it's always
assume
that
it's
Vince gets the blame, but Vince is the last stopgap, isn't he? He has to approve everything, so even if he didn't come up with the idea, he's approved it, which makes him an enabler, which makes him worse.
Buddy Murphy is Buddy no more. He ain't your buddy guy. He ain't no one's buddy pal. It's just Murphy now.
I think it makes sense. It makes sense. He's called Buddy. You can't have a heel called Buddy. It's like...
You get,
It doesn't make sense.
It doesn't really work, does
Like,
it?
it doesn't make sense. Yeah, I think like some name changes are very questionable. This one I think makes sense. When you're a heel, to surname somebody I think's fine. Like, you know, I think it's all right.
It makes, yeah, and there's something quite cool about the name Murphy.
Yeah, Murphy. It's like the RoboCop there. It's a, what's your name, kid? Murphy.
Oh, I love RoboCop. I might watch it later. But this is one of many name changes that have happened in WWE over the last couple of years, of course. Antonio Cesaro lost his Antonio.
Yes. Let's go through my reasons for this. Completely true and from my head, because I know the thought process behind all this. So Cesaro, too hard to spell the first name.
Okay.
All right.
Too difficult.
I reckon that's, from my standpoint, for the American audience, I'm healing it up.
Oh my god, oh my god,
Too
oh my
hard
god.
to spell.
Okay, Alexander Rusev. Alexander's an easy
Too
name.
many syllables.
Too many syllables.
Can you imagine? Alexander Rusev on the ropes. Alexander Rusev going for the... Alexander Rusev.
Mustafa Ali.
I don't know.
That one seems strange, but they put it back now.
It's weirder when they revert. When it's like, he's now just Ali. It's like, okay, because I get shortening the names for in-ring stuff, because it's like, you know, you can't, as I was saying with the Rusev point, you can't be saying a full name, and Vince's whole thing of proverbs, pal. So it's pronouns, Jesus Christ, pronouns, pal. So it's like, yeah, I think it makes sense to shorten stuff, but it always confuses me when it goes back. So like, Mustafa Ali, Mustafa Ali. Like, what? How has this happened?
But we were saying before we came down, in the late 90s, you had Stone Cold Steve Austin.
Yes.
And how commentators would shorten it. We told shorten it to Stone Cold.
Yeah.
Could you imagine if there had been a thing that on the website they'd actually changed Stone Cold Steve Austin's name to just Stone Cold?
I think Stone Cold's one of the only people where it could have worked and nobody would have cared, because he's just called Stone Cold. They only ever called him Stone Cold Steve Austin, like, really, didn't they? When he'd like win something or it was entrance. It was like...
Yeah, I suppose.
When he was being announced, it was the full name, but the rest of it was Austin or Stone Cold.
And The Rock, Rocky Maivia. Like, why would you shorten that? They kept that long all the way through his career.
Yeah.
They certainly did.
Yeah.
Keep your name and have a lovely weekend.
That's great.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't forget to leave a comment in the comment section down below. You can support us on Patreon by going to patreon.com/Cultaholic. Lastly, don't forget to hit subscribe and join us.